Ada mau ngomong apa nggak?
I want to say to RRQ HOSHI, bawa piala M4 untuk Indonesia.
Please bring the trophy to Indonesia, RRQ HOSHI. Apa Ul?
Semoga RRQ harus bisa bawa pulang ke Indonesia piala M4.
And again, he asked for
Kami
the
butuh M4.
trophy. We need M4. But you are the captain, and he was crying on MPL season 10. That's right. He's so emotional right now. But how you see RRQ right now in this state? What do you feel? Apa yang kamu rasain lihat RRQ sekarang ini? Kemarin kan abis nangis sampai terharu. Sekarang gimana perasaannya? Terharu kah atau ada yang lain?
Seneng sih harusnya. Tapi semoga bisa masuk final aja. Tetap konsisten. Untuk Bang Acil, semoga
Respect band.
What did he say? He said he want to support RRQ now because last time he was crying and emotional, but right now he is happy. But he said, Acil, good luck. Respect ban.
If you want to ban a player from the opposing team, we don't want that player. Who would that be? Who do you want out?
Kepengen nge-ban playernya siapa sih? Kalau dari Eko bisa kita ban playernya ya? Ada nggak?
gak usah lah, RRQ lebih jago.
Wow! No need to ban anyone from Eko because RRQ is way stronger.
Now, we want to see how strong you are with your cheer. You're going to lead, and the entire stadium is going to cheer with you. Go ahead.
Viva!
Viva!
RRQ! Jaya, Jaya, Jaya!
All right, we
right.
got to get this game started. Casters, let's get it going.
Thank you very much to our host down there, and you can feel the passion, right? So welcome back to the desk. Again, I'm Nisu, joined here with Gideon and Wolf, and man, do we have a series ahead of us. And I like that. You know, I don't completely understand Bahasa, right? I only know Makasi, but with what that was said there, we don't need to ban anybody. I already knew what he was basically saying, and that is just showing how confident they are in their team RRQ.
I think, you know, the fans here are passionate indeed, but this is going to be a very interesting game because, again, home turf, we're expecting RRQ fans to be with them. I can't imagine what Echo must be feeling with chants that are literally ringing through my earphones.
Yeah, you know, I was able to talk to some of the other Filipino players when they're in the hotel, when they're fighting against RRQ, particularly RRQ, right? And Onyx, well, they're the Indonesian crowd. It really is, you know, mind-breaking to be in that spot. You're gonna have to condition yourself to not be affected to that. Surely if it's like game number 1 or the first few games that they faced that Indonesian teams, it was very difficult, but they kind of got used to it. So that's what Echo needs to do.
Well, here's what you guys need to do at home and watching right now. The M4 pass is available now. Complete all active tasks and you'll reach level 75 at ease and for free. Log in now. Exclusive rewards like the Beatrix Light Chaser, Beatrix Stellar Brilliance, and M4 Beatrix figurine are awaiting all of you. Hashtag Mobile Legends Bang Bang, hashtag MOBBM4, and hashtag Dare to Be Great. And again, the M4 Battle Night goes live this January 21st. Expect loads of events and rewards for in-game grabs. First off, complete battle tasks in-game on January 21st to get a skin choice chest. You can choose the skin you like the most. And aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. Play matches and you'll get the Team Star protection for 3 matches, double star raising points, double protection points, double EXP, and double BP for 5 matches. We're not stopping there. Free access to all heroes and loads of epic skins will also be available the same day. Save the date. Log into the game on January 21st. Enjoy the match and win tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate the M4 Championship together, including with your friends. I hope none of you guys missed that at home. You've heard it for what? Multiple days now. I am catching up. I know we all are. But let's catch back up to this series. Right now, 1-1 in the series. Things are very crucial. Tensions are high. And I got to ask you, Wolf, initially, too, draft-wise, right? We were talking about it a little bit earlier. The Yuzhong pick. Is it going to be prioritized? How devastating that Diggy pick was. I think he had, 14 assists? I mean, we're taking a look at the hero recap here. How's it looking, Wolf?
Well, you know, Medicute's carry was supposed to be unbeatable. We know that it has a very high win rate. It was now taken out by RRQ just because of Skylar's Brody. Well, let's talk about the lane match of these two heroes, right? In the laning stages, both heroes can get away, but it seems like Skylar with the Brody can have a little bit more advantage, especially if there's an additional hero, which is now the Diggy. When we compare the playstyle of Echo and RRQ, we know that both teams want to prioritize their heroes, but it seems like RRQ are only successful on making Skylar a great marksman, gold laner, if they have another hero, a babysitter. That time, it was the Diggy. So maybe that could be the thing, game number 3.
I'm on differing opinion here. I feel like Echo was playing a little bit more scared than usual because when you see a Diggy, you expect Hilda to go right up in his face, just beat him down and start building up as fast as possible and keep on with that harassment, not necessarily into the lane, but taking out, making sure that Diggy is going to be falling further and further behind, making everybody else's job so much easier. It's like, yeah, you're going to pull me back, but I'm just going to kill you.
I think that's a great point. And at the same time, you know, Diggy is a strong hero pick for a reason. It's simply annoying, right? I mean, you're dealing with all those bombs in the bushes. You're playing Hilda. You're trying to get vision. You're also trying to regenerate in the bushes. But at the same time, you're dying in the bush, right? So, you know, it doesn't really work out for you. And also, the other thing is Sanji just struggled, really, because what ultimates, again, do you take for the best situation when you have 3 great options ahead of you? So, I mean, with all those thoughts here in place, we're going to be jumping into the draft here for game number 3. It's Echo on the blue, RRQ on the red. Bans, very similar here, and right away, snapped up like that. There's the carry in the hands of Benny. He wants to give it another go.
Efusion, it's...
We've seen this before.
We've seen this before. Same, all right. Oh, so it's Farsa instead. Okay. They want to make sure that there is no way for... there is always a way for them to tag the backliners. Diggy is still open for RRQ HOSHI. That might be of a consideration right now. But what I like about both Lapu-Lapu and Farsa is that no matter what marksman there is for RRQ HOSHI, they have ways to reach the backlines, either through gap closing with the Lapu-Lapu and a one-shot potential, or through a Farsa. Combine them together, no marksman is safe.
This is going to be an interesting one because, again, this adjustment by making sure that you yourself have an artillery mage means that Sanji, even though he's going to be quote-unquote slower to get into the right position, the extra range that he gets from the Feathered Airstrike could make the difference if we see RRQ locking in something like Diggy. But instead, they're going to go for the Beatrix this time around. They're prioritizing having lane control rather than lane dominance.
One thing, too, about Sanji specifically as a player, we know that he loves to pull off those crazy plays with the flicker, right? So with him having this Farsa in his hand, you're going to expect that too. Whereas still, even when you lock in this Eve here, you want to be able to build upon the utility mindset for this match, right? You want to be able to do that. But again, you're complementing it with the Yuzhong pick, which we have said in this series specifically, or even throughout the tournament, it's been crucial for a lot of these teams' success.
Yeah, and honestly, if we're talking about success, we have to talk about supports because, again, nobody has revealed their supports and they've just mirrored each other the entire way. I was thinking maybe Karina might get picked up early or just maybe some foreshadowing, but Echo, immediately take it off. I'm expecting another assassin. There could be a chance that even Lolita might get banned off inside of Echo once more, so it denies R2 a way to disengage from fights.
Or maybe a Martis as well, because those are the heroes that Albert really like to play. You kind of want to have a sustained hero here if you're RRQ HOSHI. Surely the Yuzhong will be eventually tanky, but you're gonna have to have a frontline so that both Eve as well as the Beatrix will have great positioning. That's also the reason why they ban out the Cho here, because they don't want Yaoi to have a hero that can go to the backlines. There's the Barrett's ban. Are we looking for a Ling pick for RRQ?
Yo, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that RRQ are telling, yo, Cartesi, show up. You have a skin around you. We want an assassin.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the quote here, and that might be the story, right? Carl Teasy, I think we're the best team. I'm a team player right now, so I don't care about the stats or MVP. I've been there. He's been there, he's done that, right? Carl Teasy on the best jungler for M4. So even though that's the case, oh, good solid last ban, by the way. Diggy's taken out. There's the Grok.
I mean,
Lock in.
Come on, Echo. Give it to him. Give it to your boy.
So it's Atlas to go with, okay. Are we seeing like Hayabusa or Link this time? Coming up from Echo.
You come on. I'm so excited here. I can't wait to see Call TZ on an assassin. He showed up big time. He's been there, like the quote says, during M2.
Yeah.
If he locks in Lancelot here and wins this game on his own skin, that is just, beautiful. Oh.
It's the Akai. Oh, no. Okay.
Well, he's kind of like a ninja, right? I mean, Akai, depending on what lore story or skin you lock in, right? So they lock it in. On the other side, though, Albert will be picking up the Hayabusa.
And it's the Dragon Warrior against Tai Lung once more. I mean, it's frustrating to see because I really wanted to see Carl TZ bring it to RRQ in the assassin department against Albert of all people. But yeah, as what says, he's such a team player.
Yeah, I know. He did. He transitioned into that.
On that point, right? That's what makes these teams so scary is because you've had either. A lot of the times it was the junglers carrying teams, right? But teams that either play for their jungler or their jungler plays for their team, that's a big thing here. So this is kind of a different, I guess, for a lot of people that have been following Carl TZ specifically, they might want him to play assassins, but if this is what he feels like is the best for Echo's success, then that's what's gonna be played, right? So, but is it gonna be able to compare against Albert in the jungle on the Hayabusa? We've seen amazing things before, but let's load up into game number 3. It's 1-1 in the series. Who edges ahead here?
Oh man, if you're looking at the choice of Albert, right, going for Hayabusa, surely it's great. Like, we're excited to see that. We want to see Albert being activated as assassin, but man, Atlas, Akai, Lapu-Lapu, man, it's difficult to play a squishy hero if you're RRQ Hoshi. There's so much control and so much damage that can come out from those heroes.
Not only that, Wolf, but with an Atlas across view, when do you usually see no purifies from the other team?
Yeah,
that could be deadly.
That is a big observation here. Vin already getting stunned up. I'm surprised that Vin doesn't flicker it out just yet, but yes, there we go. He gets out of the tough situation. And, you know, coming back to that Atlas, I think we've seen many, many times, and in a couple of international competitions last year, that Atlas has really turned over some games in the later stages.
Yeah, definitely. And this time you have what? Heavy Spin as well as the Fatal Links. You can like switch between the two, or what you will use as your first in. When it comes to your initiation, right? What do you use first? You can use like Heavy Spin first so that the Atlas will have a better ultimate afterwards, or maybe use it afterwards. So the Echo composition is really backing on the damage output of both Farsa and Bandicuti, and they have the tools to make that work.
Well, I think on top of that, you know, if you are playing this Atlas, if Clay can find the Death Box positioning in the right moment at the right time, then you can use that to your advantage, right? You are now forcing Echo wherever they decide to respond and set up with the Fatal Links, then hey, you can go ahead and set up that box and hopefully profit off of that, especially with Brock here for Vin, right? We've seen it before, it can happen, but right now they've got to kind of check those boxes, and with the first turtle of the game coming up, Yaoi's not level 4 yet, so you're going to see this kind of unfold here.
Yep, Furious dive coming in from R7. He's right on top of Call TZ, forcing him to use his ultimate as soon as possible. And even Sanji really high up there with the Feather Ash. Call TZ all by himself in R7. Will find first blood. And here comes Yaoi getting into the middle of it, finds 3. But Sanji, he gets 1 already. Vin is so low, but they cannot get it. And now R7 with a double kill in the bag.
Great exchange from both teams. Echo starting with Sanford poking the Hayabusa, putting him low, forcing the Quad Shadow. But then again, Echo was forced to utilize Carl TZ's ultimate far too early. The reset was there for RRQ, and then of course damage coming up from Clay's ultimate afterwards. Fortunately for Echo, they have Yaoi's ultimate available there. He got level 4 just in time to pop the Flicker and the Fatal Links onto 3 members of RRQ. Then Sanji dealing the damage. In the end though, RRQ still gets the turtle.
Wait, does he know? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw Yaoi actually walk between brush to brush here, but he's going to open it up, sees Vin, backs away. Skylar, once again, just needs to maintain control, but Benny QT has been doing such a good job. He's looking for the trade, and now he might get the solo kill. Almost towards it. One more auto attack would have procced and would have gotten the kill.
Great response from Skylar there, not to go down. They don't want to give that advantage to either of these gold laners, right? They're going to be battling it out here. And we know, again, how scary carry can be, especially if you get those kills. But Yaoi, going to be the focus, gets out of here just fine. Still, again, RRQ holding on to a very minuscule gold lead. But I mean, objectively, they're where they want to be, right?
Yeah.
Continue this up, farm up, and just keep responding, putting pressure around the map.
And Skylar not flickering right at the get-go. It allowed him to also force the flicker onto Benikuti. And the reason why he felt very tanky out until the end is because of the fact that the outer turret energy shields in the gold lane provide 30% damage reduction. And Skylar forcing another flicker and not dying kind of means that the bottom lane is still equalized.
I'm more surprised you weren't freaking out that Sanji was about to die there. He gets, I mean, overall, Albert is putting quite a bit of pressure, and I would argue is even opening up a map to a certain degree. But let's see down bot side, tier 1, the shields are getting farmed up for the time being, but Echo, as we mentioned before, just wants to focus on the farm.
Yeah, I'm still wondering too, you know, the fact that there is no purifies here for RRQ. If they're just going to completely rely on their reaction time, right, to get out of danger or to have that, basically, I like to call it the athletic flicker out of those bad areas, right? Because, yes, if Yawi holds on to it.
Oh, wait, Zephyr! He actually flies he's going to get this kill, but no, the real one manipulation gives him a shield. He ends up dying regardless. Feathered airstrike, now putting R7 out of this fight. Black Dragon form in the middle of it. Is he really willing to play with death? Shaw residue already propping Sanji flickers forward, but the backline now in trouble. Cartesi ends up dying. One shadow into the shadow kill by Albert. He's still alive. Finn, what can he do? Forced the flicker out of there. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Echo.
Oh man, Echo. That was against Sanford opening up the backlines. Previously, in the first turtle fight, it was against Albert, but this time it was against Clay. Even after the flicker coming out from Clay, we know the one-shot potential coming out from the Lapu Lapu to take out the Eve. Eventually, the follow-up of Yawi allowed for Echo to win the battle afterwards. Unfortunately, though, Albert was still very good with the retribution.
All right, let's pull this back for a moment here because I'm trying to figure out where Echo is going to eventually plan their attack on their map. It feels like they're playing defensive, right? Yahweh's opened up the map, but then how does Cartesi make this play?
Well, I guess that what they are waiting for is to at least equalize when it comes to the turtle fight, then activate Benikuti. So to answer your question, later on, around 8 minutes time, when you can have Benikuti deal the damage with 3 items, that is where you strike. Until this point, Echo, everybody's just buying time.
I'm holding you to that 8 minutes on the dot.
Yeah, we'll see if Wolf predicts that correctly, right? And the curse doesn't affect him here. But still, going back to the point, I mean, if Benikuti can just farm up, great thing, right? That's exactly what he wants to do. Him and Skylar, same scenario, right? None of them have gone down. You see, though, how much of time is actually put on the gold lane for both these teams. You guys mentioned this in the draft. If you can have someone babysit the lane, great. Now, it's a little bit different because Diggy's not constantly there. But still, even Yawi's paying attention to that lane, trying to give any upper hand possible to their gold laner is the best thing that could happen for both of these teams because even, yes, there's what, 200 gold there. It really doesn't mean much for RRQ, but they have the objectives, right? If they can get this next turtle in about, what, 10 seconds, then that's great for Albert and the squad can transition into the Lord takes and really set themselves up for success here. Echo, though, knowing all of that, Sanji having 2 kills early on, the burst damage is going to be there. So as long as RRQ can avoid that burst coming out from Echo, Sanford with the setups like this.
Oh, I mean, Sanford, he wants it, but the fact is he's got no ult now, and now Albert might have a free kill in his hands. He's walking up Black Dragon form as well. Wall charge doesn't connect, but there we go. Albert secures it. R7 now in some trouble. Cartesi pushes him out of position, and now in a 2v1, R7's lead is just enough, but on the bottom side, almost soul kill. Skylar's baiting him into it, and now Albert is going to secure the kill. Oh, he got it. Now that's just disrespectful. Okay. Skylar was just being disrespectful. You put respect on Benny's name.
Skylar, I would have really commended what he did because he baited Benikuti in there. The TPs were uncalled for though. Because
you want a TP?
Yeah, there wasn't any escape anymore. Unfortunately, Skylar, that's 100 per. He already did 100 level play, but then he went down because of those TPs. However, though, I want to say, RRQ HOSHI, great understanding of how to take turtle number 3. What they did was to stay in the bottom bush, in a right side bush in the middle, I mean. And then it was only R7 who showed himself to Sanford. After Sanford already committed the bravest fighter onto the Yuzhong, that's when they strike.
Oh, Cartesi in some trouble now. Skylar, he lands it. Oh, he's so low, but he's still alive. Sanford with the bravest warrior already in the middle of it. He has to get on out there. Sanji's trying to help him out, but Yawi might be able to find 2. No, only 2. As the real one manipulation comes off, they get the kill onto Skylar once again, but they traded kill back, so that's going to be support for gold laner.
That's a good trade right here, but still a lot of unfolded there, a lot of ultimates and resources expended, but still RRQ holding on to a little bit of lead. 1.6k. Wolf, how's it looking in terms of items?
Okay, so we're looking at Skyler just picking up all the important items like Blade of Desire eventually into his second damage item, but he needs a Wind of Nature. Now that's also true with this BenQT carry. So far, we know that they wanted to activate it at 8 minutes, right? So they did. Yawi was able to find an opening to the backlines, and that is one thing that RRQ should be respecting.
Oh, again, and it looks like a repeat of history, but Yawi this time doesn't even go for that engage, and it feels like to me that Skylar is a little desperate after his little mishap down on the bottom side.
Yeah, he wants the kill there. He did pick up the Malefic Roar, so that damage is going to be there even more so now. You know, even though he's got the 2 assists, he wants those kills because he does know as well that BenQT is going to be scaling up, especially past this game.
Oh no, Clay, he gets pulled back, but it really doesn't matter. He flickers on backwards. His R7 is there to cover his back. Nicely done. The teamwork from RRQ to deny the initial engage.
Great teamwork coming up for RRQ, like I said. And this means that they might have the better control of the first Lord of the game. What are they doing right now? What they should be doing right now is to control the lanes first before they engage onto the first Lord dance. So they're using Scatter up to the top lane, bottom lane already pushed out. Mid lane should be answered by R7 or maybe Clay in here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to how RRQ is going to control this Lord.
Well, let's see how they're going to, because bot side is already stacked up with a full wave. That tier 2 might be in some trouble, and RRQ don't mind leaving this B. Orange buff being taken away by Hayabusa, but the rest of Echo, how are they responding to it? Tier 2 is already down. They can still let this bleed even more, but now they're going to force the issue. Sanford's walking back into the fight. Conceal coming out from Vin. He's going to take the long way around. Yawi is looking for an opportunity. Albert might be in some trouble. Quad Shadow's out of there, but on the opposite side, here we go. R7 jumping into the middle of that fight. Bravest Warrior forcing Sanford out, but now he flippers right on top of Clay. He's down. BenQT's in trouble. Skylar might have to take the 1v1. The Quad Shadow's already down, and the Shadow kill isn't enough. Albert still alive, trying to get on out of there, but Sanford's chasing him down. Yu Song is dead, and that's going to be a 3-for-nothing trade in favor of Echo.
And even the Lord belongs to Echo. What a great play from their side. RRQ HOSHI, they tried to go for the conceal play from the bottom. They wanted to tag Sanford. Unfortunately, that left both Clay and Skylar exposed to Yawi. Yawi didn't find the first jump, however. As you saw, RRQ, they still managed to get away from there, but their position was already compromised. Albert was too far when the Lord was put on to low. And you see Echo, despite losing the first 3 turtles, just controlled the Lord that's much better than they did RRQ.
Not only that, but I mean, even that team fight, you saw how much pressure there was from Echo that Skylar actually didn't have the opportunity to get in the positioning he wanted to. He had the defensive flicker out, and now they're dealing with this siege coming out from Echo. They still have the Lord also on the bottom side to work with. They're going to lose more turrets here and have to be forced to pretty much defend in their base. Conceal play comes out, just getting a check here. But the big thing for RRQ, they do have Clay. Their defense, their high ground defense should be pretty good, at least to this point. It's only 12 minutes in the game. Lord is even at half health here. So let's see how this one plays out.
Yep, Finn already using his conceal. He's in the middle
Flicker.
of everybody. Oh, well, let's see. He finds one. And now the Feather Airstrike in combination. Petrify onto BenQT. R7 trying his best. He's in the middle of the fight, but nobody can support him. Albert finds one. Contisi is dead. And now they're looking for a second as they find the Bravest Warrior next. And now with it all, Albert still lands it. But it's no! He hits that! Skylar! Absolute monster! Snipes it from halfway underneath the inhibitor turret!
That deserves the Dave sheesh, because he has been waiting for that moment in this game. Skylar finally gets it, and that's a massive successful defense from RRQ.
This word doesn't exist, but I'm gonna use it. So many sheeshable moments out there. As you saw Yawi with a jump, right? You saw this as flicker, but look at that combination of Clay and Vin. Guardian's Barrier with a diamond-shaped box, and then eventually Skylar just sniping BenQT. My goodness!
That was clean.
That's the word, sheeshable.
Good lord, oh man. I don't know, these Beatrix players are disgustingly good. Well, a little too good for my taste here. I want to go back to some of that basic stuff. I feel bad about myself now.
Well, I mean, at this point, they've turned it around. RRQ, they had to defend the high ground. They did. Yes, they lost a couple turrets, but they profited off of it, right? I mean, they have that defense. They get a couple members of Echo down, and now you can see that, right? With that swing, that pendulum swing, momentum in their favor, they just have to be cautious with the setups from Yawi. That's the biggest thing here. The next Lord is going to be up. RRQ is in a good position to actually take this one, and Echo knows it.
How about that? There's Sanji and Yawi up top. Through a bush, you have to be careful about this, and RRQ doesn't have vision of that. Skylar already utilizing this this Renner. Just make sure that they scout out additional members. And I think that RRQ has a little bit of the same idea. They want to control the outside bushes, like the Lord Dance. Look at them. The Lord only has 2 heroes, and everybody's just dispersed.
Look at that. They're waiting for that conceal play. They got Benny Cutie there on the top side. Carl TZ still going to bounce this Lord around here, keeping everyone, RRQ on the hunt. They're trying to figure out where the other members are. Lord half health, here comes the conceal.
Yep, Yawi's coming in. R7's already looking to engage Clay once again. Is this a repeat of history? No. They back off. Now the real one manipulation. Wall charge as well. Already hitting 2. Falling into Renner's apathy. It's all over now. As now they try to jump in. Zephyr turns around, finds Skyline as well as Finn. They push through. Benny finds it again. Taking out Clay. A triple kill. Absolutely shredding through them. But now they're chasing them down. How many can they find? Echo is looking for some as much value as possible, but R7 tries to turn it around, but it doesn't matter. Benny QT hasn't even used his Winds of Nature and flickers for it. 4 for 2 so far.
Benny Cutie, the hurricane of Echo. You saw how it was activated in that fight. They utilized Yawi as well as Sanji from topside with a concealed play, and it's almost a repeat of history. But then again, after Clay already utilized his ultimate, and then Albert is no longer a threat to the carry. That's when he was able to rise to the occasion. He found 3 members of RRQ, and the Lord Dance was perfect from Echo, especially because Call DC won the Retribution battle against Albert. My God, that was the disaster for RRQ HOSHI because of Benny Cutie's calamity.
Not only that, but the fact that they waited patiently for the conceal play, and now it's again RRQ on the defense.
Yep, Cossy's in trouble here. Oh no, Clay's in trouble. He can't do much about it. He doesn't have any of his battle. Yawi finds it, and now they have a double kill. Zephyr cleans it up. They're going to be ending this. Echo takes game number 3. GG. Well played.
Benny gets his eyes on the crystal, and he doesn't hold back. He goes right for it. Bring it, Echo. To 2-1 in the series. It's match point.
Oh, what a game this is.
What a game.
It's such back and forth. Like RRQ break even, then Echo break even, and then Echo finally put the killing blow in.
It's a tug of war at that point, right? Everybody's holding on and equally giving the same amount of strike. But Echo found the opening, and once they found out RRQ's chick in the armor, when RRQ just let go of a little bit of the grip, they found the win in the tug of war.
Tug of war it be, but RRQ was in good position until that last play we saw unfold, the conceal. We knew what was happening. Benny Cutie made his way up there, and then they just waited. And Yawi even a little off timing with that fatal links, but still Benny Cutie able to survive without even popping the Winds of Nature for the majority of that fight until what? Maybe he had 3-4 kills already. That is, I mean, that comes down to that micro decision in terms of team fight. No one got a hand on Benny, and you gotta contain the storm, man.
Somebody's got to contain the storm, but I'm more curious about that final interaction right at the very end there. Clay just so out of position. That's right. Why? I guess, yes, there are a lot of threats, but you shouldn't be that far out of your base to begin with.
Well, what you wanted to do, if you're RRQ HOSHI, you want to get to the backline so that you will be able to attack Benny Cutie, but Echo kind of played it differently. They didn't allow that to happen. And what happens if most of your initiators just go into the enemy backlines, right? What happens is that you leave your backlines open because there's no one to peel for both Clay and Skylar. And that's exactly what happened. With the crafty plays coming in from Echo, they forced RRQ HOSHI to have a bad formation in the backlines that exposed Clay and allowed Benny Cutie to do the reverse.
Honestly, when people are looking at the VODs for this game, just take note of Echo's pathing across the map, the way that they use their conceals. They're coming up with some really interesting flank angles, which didn't feel very, well, impactful at first, but then you saw the benefit of it and how out of position RRQ, especially at that particular angle towards the top side Lord Pit, nicely done.
They do this often. I mean, this is something that Echo is known for, and teams have to be weary of because they're going to do it again, right? But before we have that game broken down by the boys on the analyst stand, we do have to mention TikTok Live Carnival, the Cheer Up for M4. Watch M4 matches on TikTok. Participate in Cheer Up for M4 activities by watching M4 matches on TikTok and using M4 exclusive customized gifts to cheer for the teams. There will be a chance to be on TV and win abundant gifts. So don't forget to join that. And there's even outside of the venue, if you guys are watching here, there's basically a carnival outside.
Yeah.
So we are going to be throwing this over to our analysts to have them break it down further. I'm sure they have a lot to say. Guys, take it away.
Whoa, we have a series in our hand. Let's first talk about the R7 play, though. He was just on the Akai. I mean, what's going on? R7 versus Sanford. I think that's the key focus of last game.
Yeah, let's talk about R7 first, right? Because him and Sanford were... No, for real. Him and Sanford were absolutely amazing, right? Enabling his team so much, but this time Sanford actually got a matchup that he's comfortable with. And guess what? We're gonna take a look at the item builds here to really dissect the item builds this time around because the game was so close. Game 1 was dominant for Echo. Game 2 was then dominant for RRQ, and now finally get a close game.
Part of game 3 here has a little bit of deja vu elements of it because again, yeah, there is that R7 versus Sanford matchup, and going into the last half of this draft, I kind of read into it and said, you know what, maybe R7 might be overloaded. Maybe he has to start finding Benny and Sanji, and then there might be some analysis paralysis there. And now looking at the way that these two built, obviously, the whole game, my eyes were on Skylar, right? He had like several solid shots, one very specific that took out Benny Cutie. And I can't help but think, did they need more time?
To get to the power spike?
Yeah.
I think they do, right? But funnily enough, you were looking at Skylar, I was actually looking at Sanji, so we're looking at the opposite teams here. But Sanji, the way he played the Farsa was a different Farsa. He wasn't just a damage-dealing poke Farsa, but it's also kind of a distraction. Because, funnily enough, he actually wants R7 and Albert to engage on him, even Vin here, because he has the Winter Truncheon, he has the Flicker to get out of that, and he's baiting so many of the resources for Benny QT to really pop off in these team fights.
Miracle, I have a question. For the entire set of RRQ here, not a single person has Purify, even knowing with Alice and Akai. Can you walk us through the reasoning behind that?
That's deja vu, right?
Deja vu to game number 1. Honestly, right here, it feels like both teams didn't go for Purifies, right? Even though RRQ had Petrifies, had a Grok as well. Echo had a lot of CC, but why? Why did both teams not want to go for Purify? I think it is, again, how both of the teams can make those micro decisions to win the game or lose the game. They can pull it off, we can't.
And also Eve, he was using his ultimate as Purify. A few times he was just using the ultimate at the right time to dodge the Fatal Link, and I think that's really, really good play coming out from Clay. So let's break down the team fight participation here. Who do you think is the star on each team?
I'm guessing for Echo, when it came down to that last few moments where in Echo we're trying to go for that major lead, Kaltizi just weathered through the early game, right? He wasn't as strong as Albert in cleaning up, because I think that's what you were talking about, Miracle. The fact that there were these fights that RRQ HOSHI had no business staying in, but just were in too deep, and they just needed to finish the job, and indeed they did. But when it mattered, I'm looking at maybe the 9 to 10 minute mark, when Carl Tizzy was just saying, you know what, I'm gonna heavy spin here, I'm gonna take these major objectives, you guys do the rest. I think that's the turning point for the game 3.
Yeah, because through the mid game, it seemed like R7, it seemed like Win and Albert had a really good synergy. You know, like they were going in at the same time, they were finding those engages and finding those objectives, but through the late game, it's just not gonna be enough. So let's take a look at MVP. It's going to be Sanford, 4-1-13 on a Lapu.
Speaking of Sanford, right, again, this man, I mean, take a look at the item builds here. He knows exactly what to go for. He knows that his healing, his sustainability is going to win him the game. And in these team fights, especially against a Beatrix, a Yves as well, it's these drawn-out team fights. He understands the assignment completely, the Oracle, plus the Bloodlust, and even the Queen's Wings to add more sustainability. And on top of that, he cancels out a lot of the regen coming in from the enemy team, the healing. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Purify as well. Why do both teams, you know, hate the Purify so much? We're not seeing it. It's because of the laning, right? You can see, with Benny bringing the Flicker, that adds so much to his laning, and especially in terms of chasing the Beatrix, Skylar can't afford to go for the Purify because he's going to get battered in lane.
Yep, and in the case of Sanford, you'll see several times in this game that he used that Flicker to reposition to get the tail end, or at least a majority of the AoE of his skills, specifically his ult, the Bravest Fighter, to make major impact do basically maybe 50-60% of what that team fight wanted to go for in Echo's favor. And here in the 5 to 10 minute range, you see that this is the part where Echo wasn't really dominating yet, where they weren't winning clearly. That's why he needed to hunker down and anchor into his XP lane and then eventually translate into these big team fights.
I love the Lapu pick on Sanford because it's similar to like a Benedetta pick. A hero that can carry the game too. You deal a lot of damage on top of just the utility and the initiation that you have.
And this Lapu was on the Albert the entire game, right? Like he was making sure Albert wasn't able to do much. Here we go, let's take a look at this first turtle fight here, second turtle fight here. Even though Haya got it, but look at Lapu position. He was doing a lot of damage in the middle of everything.
And I think there was a key decision that Echo made, right? Yeah, you look at Sanford. They weren't actively looking for the Hayabusa. They weren't looking for Albert because that's a lost cause. See, yeah, he's gonna be low, but you know that Sanford's gonna find him anyways because of the amount of damage in CC you have on that hero. So again, here at the 15-minute mark, it's clear that RRQ got split up because of, again, a small advantage in positioning that Echo have, which now puts them at match point.
I gotta give it to Benny though, massive shout out. Even though Sanford was the MVP here in the end, Benny did so much, and the way he's positioning himself isn't like a normal gold laner. He actually is going to be, he's comfortable flickering forward, playing in front, but he spaces himself out from the enemy team so well. He knows the range and he knows how much resources are available on the enemy team to pull that off.
But can we talk about Skylar's snipe? You know, that one beautiful snipe over there. We were all jump out of our seat. I think you jumped and you touched the ceiling pretty much.
I broke my head.
Yeah. But to get to know more about the next game, we're going to have a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to quickly throw it back to the caster's desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that breakdown of Game 3. Again, if you're just joining us, it's me, Naisu, Gideon, and Wolf, and we are now at match point for Echo here. RRQ's got to refine exactly what they've taken from these past few games, learn from that process, and hopefully extend this series to 5 games.
You know the even Yuzhong combo that RRQ HOSHI running out game number 3? It really looks like one of those meta picks, right? It's looking very strong as a combo, but it's not working, unfortunately. There's one thing that maybe they should change come draft number 3. Maybe give up, maybe take something else. Maybe, you know, take it the Eve for Clay because he plays it well, but give R7 a more macro-intensive hero.
A macro-intensive hero?
Yeah. Like a Benedetta, perhaps, or a Glue even, but Glue will be automatically, I think, Joy
I
as
think
well.
it's going to be banned.
So something like a...
You know, the biggest thing for me?
Like Benedetta, perhaps.
That's the thing. I was thinking about whether or not Benedetta might have been the option in this upcoming game here, especially for R7 overall. But it can be a little tough. I think at the end of the day, it really came down to whether Sanford was able to, you know, make that big play when he has that flicker, and it's something that they have to be worried of. RRQ, I think when they hunker down and really start focusing on who they want to take out, they can absolutely do that, but then the remaining pieces seem to be able to pick themselves back up and actually turn that trade even and even break even more. Just so many ways to actually go above and beyond.
I think, I mean, I agree with you guys, but I think one of the biggest things here is, and you talked about this at the end of the game for Game 3, was conscious positioning, right? Mirko highlighted this on the analyst stand of the positioning of Benny Cutie, and that's really what it comes down to in terms of those team fights and everything, is constantly being aware where you're positioned. We talked about how, you know, that last defense, you didn't have to be outside of your base. You know, you didn't have to be in that position. You had a better chance of staying behind those turrets, artillerying from there, the high ground, and hoping to stay in that game, and rather it just kind of broke loose. It went through that the armor chink, like what Wolf mentioned here.
Now, was the opening.
I mean, let's look at this, Wolf. The hero pick recap from the previous game and how this breaks down.
We highlight the Lapu-Lapu from Sanford as well as the Hayabusa from Albert, right? In Sanford, okay, I always go back to the first two turtles for Echo. So what they did was to utilize Sanford to kind of poke Albert in turtle number 1 and then poke Clay in turtle number 2. On both occasions, it was successful. But that was just the intro of what Sanford is able to do in the succeeding neutral objective fights. The second and the first Lord went in favor of Echo because of how Sanford was able to tag Clay, or maybe force Albert to utilize the Quad Shadow too early for his condition.
I mean, it's just, you gotta treat it like a punching bag, right? You know, Sanford just has to keep applying pressure, keep putting, be a kill threat, in not only in the lane, but in those team fights, to make sure that RRQ HOSHI is utilizing some form of resources, dropping something on him just to get away.
Refresh my memory here. The 2 times that I think Vin played Grok, they lost, right? Is that correct? So maybe that key to victory, if it ain't broke, pick Grok isn't the way they want to go, right? Maybe it's better if even they allow Vin to be on a pick that is not just so reliant on that wild charge, right? Because what we're seeing is, even if he gets it off, Echo works around that so well. They know what to expect when that Grok is locked in for Vin. Yeah. So put him on something else. I'm not saying Diggy, right? That Diggy did work, but I feel like in an extended series, Diggy only works so often, right? It kind of has to be that surprise factor. Now, you could do something better by allowing Vin to, I don't even know if he wants to pick up the Franco, right? But even we saw the Atlas in the previous game from Yawi, allow Vin to not just rely on that wild charge, because usually when those don't land the way you want to them, or even if the Guardian's barrier is misplaced, it puts you at a disadvantage. So I'd love to see how this draft unfolds here, specifically for RRQ, and what they've learned up to this point as we get ready for Game 4.
All right, then let's jump right into it. Let's hesitate no longer. And knowing these 2 teams, they're going to be really fast on this. The Kaja, the Eve already banned out, the Joy, as well as the Wanwan banned out for the side of Echo. But this time we are seeing that RRQ have decided to be on the blue side. So let's see what that first pick is going to be. I'm expecting Eve or Carry. We'll see what Echo wants to leave up.
They don't ban out the glue. I think we see RRQ take glue 100%. Right away.
And that means that Echo might be considering banning out that carry this time. Or if they give it up, they now have better trades. Because when you pick up the carry on RRQ's side, you can get the glue on Echo's side. So that's a better trade for Echo. Then again, they better carry. So you go glue this time for RRQ Hoshi. Or do you pick up the Grok?
I feel like even though glue is good, we've seen Echo whip out the Dire off a couple of times.
Farsa Grok, I think, is the opening here.
Farsa Grok? Okay, they got the Farsa. Let's see if this next one is going to be the Grok.
Well, what else do you answer the glue with, right? There's I do agree with you. The Dyroth is actually going to be a good pick. I think they are going to pick it their third pick, because there's a big chance that RRQ Hoshi will just ban it out in the second phase. So maybe that's the last pick of the first phase for Echo. For now, they're really thinking about the Grok. I do want to say though, the team that holds the Grok in this series loses the game. So that's
what you're going to say.
Yeah,
you're going to stick by that too.
Stats don't lie though. Games 1 and 3, that's RRQ, and game number 2, that's Echo.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see the overall stats for Grok. But hey, you know, Lapu Lapu actually getting locked in here. I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because Sanford is really amazing with it. And knowing that RRQ Hoshi kind of they play the game like they wanted to always peel for their backliners. That's how Clay and Skylar was successful RRQ Hoshi. Lapu Lapu counters that too, so that's maybe the idea here for Echo.
Usually in that matchup too, the Glue Lapu Lapu matchup, I would say more often than not, I've seen Glues get that first blood, and still, that is a very simple step for RRQ to get that momentum they need, because we've seen, I mean, the glue in the hands here of R7 causing havoc in the back line, especially if he gets that early momentum going. That's a great step to success here and taking us to Game 5. And now with the next 2 picks, look at that. They are going to go with a more proactive roam option. Like we were saying, they're going to lock in the Franco here, and it's complemented with this Faramis pick.
Okay, I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong about this. Cho, thoughts on this, Wolf?
Cho could be good for Echo just because of the fact that it's a flex pick. So you give Vin a hero that he excels with, his counterpart, Yawi, will get their own pick, but instead they go Claude.
Interesting direction that Echo has decided to take it. Instead of looking to mirror RRQ, this time they're going to be playing for their own gold lane, and I think a lot of resources are going to be dedicated, making sure that Sanford is almost guaranteed to be on the weak side. A little sad to say the least, but I feel like Sanford has kind of proven himself 1v2, arguably 1v4 sometimes.
Yeah, I agree, and at the same time, I'm wondering, are they going to bait? Okay, there is the Beatrix ban, so really limiting the options here for Skylar.
Exactly, and you're looking for like a combo with the Franco, right? Hitting the Franco hooks, they're amazing, but you need damage still. Faramis will not be giving that to you. Maybe a few patches back, that will be the case. Right now, both Brody and Beatrix would have been good in combination with this pick. So I wonder with how RRQ is going to supplement the initiations coming out from the Franco. Echo, however, they still have the Dyroth. If they want to pick it up, they can give it to maybe Carl TZ, but knowing that the Lapu Lapu is already picked up, it tells me maybe Echo will choose a different hero this time to answer the glue.
I suppose, but the fact that they banned out Barad, I don't know. It feels like the headspace of RRQ is, hey, Arteezy is still going to be the problem. We need to make sure that we can secure our objectives, and maybe we can snowball out of control from there. But as of yet, I mean, mid lane still very open for RRQ, and if we come back in towards Echo's side, they can easily lock their jungler right now. I don't know if they want to show their support this time.
It's the Cho.
It's the Cho? All right.
Well, comfort for both of your roamers. Now RQ, they badly need early game damage here. Surely you got already good heroes in your comfort picks. You need to give Albert a hero that can supplement the damage, and then of course Skylar with some early game damage as well to kind of pierce through the early stages, so that they will not suffer from lack of damage in your stages, like many teams suffer from.
You need that follow-up with the Franco hooks, but still, I mean, even the Cho is flexed technically. We don't know if it's actually going in the hands of Yawi or if it's going to be placed in the jungle again for Arteezy, right? So they're still leaving that mystery here. Look at that. We're getting an advanced look, right? That's the Irithyll along with the Karina locked in here. Now, Irithyll doesn't have the best win rate. That is 14%. But still, how does this work with what they've drafted so far?
They're all in on early game team fights. They're all in the mid game. With this decision, RRQ is saying, we are gambling. We're putting our tournament on the line in the first 10 minutes of the game. If we don't,
because I agree with Wolf, this is a bit of a gamble. I will say that Echo's overall draft is looking good, and you can feel that Yawi is feeling it. As long as he blocks a couple of good hooks, it's kind of up to Vin, and hopefully he still doesn't have PTSD from M3, so we'll see how this is going to go.
Biggest thing here is, like you guys mentioned, that timer, right? 10 minutes here. At the same time, this is Cho in the hands of Yawi. We've seen incredible playmaking potential from that alone. And with Arteezy picking up the Akai in the jungle, he's going to be just focusing on objectives. This could very well be the last chance here for RRQ. It's match point for Echo as we jump into Game 4.
Irithyll wins the laning matchup for sure. I mean, you wanna. It is.
We didn't get to see whether the hook landed or not. Did he get the hook or not?
I don't know. We know for sure though that in the laning stages, RRQ HOSHI does have the advantage. Because of the fact that they have Irithyll winning against the Cloud, it just naturally, and the glue of course, it's almost unbeatable in the laning stages. If they piggyback on that idea, like destroy Echo's timing with their early game spike, maybe RRQ has a chance to extend the game number 5.
Echo knows it.
Yeah, I mean, R7, there's nothing he can do. He's going to lose his battle spell here regardless, and arguably, I would say he's about to die as well. And there we go. R7 just greeting out to hit that level 2, ends up dying for it.
That's not how you want to start the game here for RRQ. I mean, you mentioned it, getting baited into it, and still, I mean, at that point, you have Sanford, who again got the MVP previous game, same hero, now has an upper hand, but the kill going over to Sanji on this same hero, Farsa, is going to be deadly, but Benny Cutie.
Yep, he wants to land it. Oh, the hook doesn't connect. Benny Cutie is able to just sidestep it in that time. The dive fails, they back away, and now the level 4s are rolling in.
R7 didn't respect the fact that Sanji rocks a flicker this time. That's why he was taken out. And minor mistakes coming up from RRQ. It's going to be, so I guess the word that you use here is compound interest, right? That's what we have to take note if you're RRQ.
Yeah, now look at this situation, right? Because of that death, that does mean that R7 is not going to hit his level 4 in time. The early proxy is going to make sure that they have priority, and now that if they can get mid to push, that would be ideal. But let's see how the situation plays out. It's now RRQ trying to get some kind of information as Albert now being threatened by Sanford. He might actually die here. Albert's still alive. Glue ends up dying again. How did R7 die on the top side of the map? Sanji is able to pick him off.
Talk about Sanford and Sanji, the San duo, just making waves here for Echo. 2 minutes into the game, and this is a tough situation for RRQ already. I mean, yes, the gold lead isn't massive, but these minor decisions, these plays across the map are going to cause waves throughout the game.
Man, Sanford's maneuver, after winning the top lane just because of the help of Sanji. He's able to get level 4 before the turtle fight, for the first turtle of the game. That allowed him to invade the purple buff and make a, put some influence, put some pressure in the laning stage of RRQ HOSHI.
Oh,
Okay.
and that's called TZ getting picked off immediately. Echo. Oh, wait. Oh, so very close, but here comes the Feather Airstrike.
the
Flickering
flicker
forward,
again.
he's guessing. Skylar is still alive. This could be a potential dive. Yaoi, he wants it, he finds it, and gets the kick. Benny QT almost finishes him off. Yaoi takes the kill. Unfortunately, Vin finds the iron hook. Clay pulls him back, kicking back and forward, and Albert will secure the kill.
You see that? You can't get away, Yaoi. We've got 2 poles. He tries to run away, but also the highlight there is that Albert was able to pick up that kill. Big pickup here, Wolf.
So you saw that they were able to take out Carl TZ after what would likely be a snag coming out from Vin. Eventually, though, the dive, flicker in coming out from Sanji, forced Skylar to be very low, and then Yaoi found the opening under the turret. Good thing, though, for RRQ. They have found some trades with Albert getting 2 kills.
Yep, and now they're going to be walking up. Echo looking to invade Albert, but they don't want to commit too much in this situation. Now, let's talk about the lane states, right? Because Vin, he's trying to make something happen. Oh, Clay!
Purify.
Good Purify. Doesn't get kicked out of position.
Well, it's a good thing they have that. You were talking about the lane matchups here. I mean, this one specifically, Sanford's going to have the upper hand here. As we're seeing, I mean, R7's got to kind of make his way back from that deficit now in the early game. Again, Wolf, you called 10 minutes here, and it might turn out to be even less than that. But still, turtle up, RRQ in position.
And now Feathered Airstrike already being used super early on. They're just holding them hostage. They know that Sanford is ready to jump into the fight. Yaoi finds the initial engagement onto Albert. He's in trouble, but Sanford in the back line making a tough Cortese. Locks Albert down. He's finally dead, but now the rest of the team is here. R7 with the reinforcements. Yaoi might be in some trouble, but finally it's going to be Sanford who ends up a dive. R7 is able to secure his own kill onto Yaoi, and Benny QT is on the run. Skylar doesn't want to be a part of this fight, but the Bound Mirror image is going to juke them out.
Wow, what a move coming out from Benny getting out of there. And even the fact that he threatened for a kill onto 3 of the members of RRQ HOSHI. It all started with a snack though.
Well, he's going to get pulled back. The Feathered Airstrike should be able... Oh, actually, there we go. Magic Worship going to do the last tick of damage.
Yeah, that burn does hurt, right? Able to secure the kill there, Sanji. That's 3 kills now for him. Going to profit off that, build in. Let's take a look at the items, how this is playing out here, Wolf.
So at least a little bit of an advantage for the Karina, but with all the casual items like the Dreadnought Armor and the Molten Essence, there's no full item yet for the Karina. That's why they're not yet able to actually teamfight with that. And then, of course, Irithel, you need more items here. Windtalker, eventually the second item will allow him to dish out the damage already. So that's the power spike that you're looking for RQ. Benny QT, though, with 0 deaths and 2 assists, and the Avarice is now in a very comfortable spot. DHS, eventually Golden Staff. You can imagine his farming speed to go off the roofs when he gets that second item.
Okay, let's talk about, okay.
Oh, Yaoi! Oh, he almost finds the angle of the kick, but Skylar's able to get out of position in time, locked down with the Bloody Hunt. Yaoi might be in some trouble here, but Call TZ looking locked down. Skylar, the Feather Airstrike is coming on through, but the Call Altar keeps him alive until he's gone. Benny QT now, with all the green lights, comes in, and it's pretty much done for the side of RRQ. They cannot survive this kind of aggression. What an execution from Echo.
Absolutely good chain of events for Echo as they utilize their lineup into its full potential. Yaoi with the flicker, going in forward first. Surely he missed away the dragon, but that allowed Echo to get into position. Then goes Kautizi.
Oh no. Albert, he's in so much trouble, but he should be tanky enough to actually survive all the damage. It's getting close, and here comes Sanji. If he sees him, he might be done with the Feather Airstrike, but on the top side, Call TZ all left all by himself, sacrificing his life for hire as Albert on his way to secure this turtle. What a move from RRQ!
Oh, wow. What a punish, indeed. You saw that there was a lot of focus in the bottom lane. They found Vin!
He's gone. He's gone. Nothing to say about that. Well played. Great punish from Vin.
RQ picking up wins where they can, and it also looks like a little miscommunication from Echo too. Yaoi has the vision here. But still, RQ finding now it's the 2 turtles they've got. They've got a little bit of gold lead. They just have to figure out this Sanji problem. If they can get that, shut him down. That's going to be another big play for RRQ.
He's going to walk up. They don't realize that he's there because of the conceal. He throws up. Ooh, the hook.
R7 though.
R7, he's pushing them out of position, but they're working as a team. This could be the turnaround now, but KarlTzy can't seem to find the angle just yet. They're going to focus on their jungle and back away.
Every bit is intense in this game because you're watching Vin. Maybe he lands a hook. I don't know, right? We're all watching.
Bloody Hunt onto KarlTzy already started off, but Yowie's looking for an angle as Sanford jumps into the back. Nobody can stop Sanji with his feathered airstrike except for the Cole All-Star. Skylar running for a slide battle mirror. Image takes it back. Sanford now left to die. Yowie can't help him out. Sanford is able to hop on over with the help of Sanji. R7 still on that chase. He's sick of it, but Yowie is able to stop the aggression.
I can't believe no one died from that exchange.
Like how?
So much back and forth and just masterful disengage from both teams there. But still, RQ holding on to this lead, they can play around with it, right? Still, if they can focus Sanji, if they can get a bloody hunt or a hook on him, they're going to profit massively, Wolf.
There was a lot of explosions in there, and he's surprised that nobody died. Bloody Hunt onto KarlTzy, a prime target. You want to go onto it, but he survived afterwards. Then Benecutie finds a BMI after the fact that the Paramis ultimate was already down. Kill threat onto Earthump, but wasn't able to find it as well.
Oh, Yowie's looking for an angle, but again, Vinda doesn't punish him just yet, knowing that he has the Shunpo. However, the mid lane, we do see Sanford. He's getting himself out of there. Again, the aggression pushed back.
This match is electric. This particular game, everything is so close.
It's
you can
so
feel
high
it.
Stakes.
The tension, not just in the stadium, but in the game as well. Now this Lord being worked on here, half health.
Oh, he hits KarlTzy, and now Sanford has to save it. Feathered airstrike as well, but R7 gets into the backline, forcing it out. They got Irothel. Sanford has done it. He's dumped the damage, and now RRQ are on the run. R7 is still in the middle of it, but a double kill coming in from Sanford is more than enough. KarlTzy is trying his best with a Hurricane Dance. He's trying to push it. It's too late. Benecutie in the middle of it gets 3 already. Sanford, a triple kill all by himself.
Maniac make it, and now Albert the Focus gonna be able to survive, but his team is taken care of.
Sanford literally destroyed RQ in there. The zone out with the combo. This is why they first picked this Lapu Lapu. He won his laning stage. He was able to pressure Albert, and then in the most important team fight for Echo, the first Lord of the game, he was able to tag Albert, take him out with the Bravest Fighter, the combo, then gets a double. The kick from Yowie allowed Echo to take that Lord despite KarlTzy being grabbed by that glue. The kick from Yowie displaced Albert, and this is a massive victory for Echo.
Right now, still Lord going to be on the bottom side. They're going to continue to get these turrets across the map, opening it up for themselves. Now they have the lead of 2K here. And at first I thought, Sanford was going to say, hey, Sanji, you can get the MVP this game, but now they're competing for it. RRQ has to have an answer for this.
Yowie, he finds the kick onto Vin. They want to take one by one. And unfortunately for Vin, there's nothing he can do about it. Nicely played by Echo. Good bait from Sanford as the outer turrets will fall, and Echo will slowly creep their way in towards those inhibitor turrets. No big ultimates as of yet. RRQ can actually defend this relatively well here, unless Skylar gets picked off. KarlTzy gets pulled back, but he's too tanky to actually be punished for now. Albert, he's walking very close to the fire, but again, 1-0, all outer turrets are destroyed.
All right, so RRQ still in this game. It's 4K ahead for Echo, though. The time is up that you mentioned, Wolf. You said 10 minutes. I think Gideon agreed.
Yeah.
We're now at almost the 12-minute mark here. Is there any saving grace in terms of items or even macro play that RRQ can do to turn this game around here, Wolf?
Well, it's just really the hook coming out from Vin if they find an opening, right? And I think that they are focusing on KarlTzy so much. Surely it's great in the first few minutes of the game. Yeah, they can take out the Akai, but I think that it came to a point where when you go on to KarlTzy, there's a lot of supports coming out from Echo. And when you try to take attack hero, you put a lot of resources into taking out KarlTzy.
Did he just flicker?
Eventually get out damage.
Look, let's just move on from that. We're just gonna let's look at KarlTzy, man. He's looking good. He's looking good. Let's pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, you were back to what you were saying. 5 seconds on Vince flicker. Yeah, that was totally there for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All Wolf can say is, yeah, wow. All right, goes back to the game.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a detrimental for this Lord fight. It's going to be up now in about 6 seconds here. Echo, great positioning as they get set up. You're going to have to keep an eye as well on Yawi. He's going to be looking for the right target. Skylar having a very tough game on this Irithyll, even with that sprint. Clay trying to get some vision. And it's the same setup that we saw in the previous game, but this time it's just Yawi in that top side rush.
They're just waiting.
Can RRQ do this?
They're just waiting for this fight. I mean, Echo is baiting it out. They're going to
Oh,
reset topside. Yawi finds the kick on to Skylar once again. Call Altar. It's not going to be enough, but they have a spin. Wheel lockdown. Bin once more. It's just timed out. And now Clay is just left all by himself. Left in the hands of Benny QT with 2 down. That's a free Lord.
Yeah, we finding a big opening onto Skylar. I wonder how he got that, but RRQ wanted to bait out the Lord and Echo just styling on them. It really looked easy for Yawi to do it.
I mean, that's just, at that point, you know, the positioning of Yawi there, he knew that the best angle for Skylar to come from was that top side because you can just pop that sprint and kind of run around, hopefully to find a member of Echo, but it just didn't work out for them. Yawi sniffed it out. He knew exactly where to be, and they focused on Skylar. And again, this begs the question, is Irithyll the weak link here in this lineup for RRQ, Wolf?
In the latter portions, I would say yes. You understand why they picked it up. It makes a lot of sense when they did, but they weren't moving as if they wanted Irithyll to be successful.
Well, let's find out here at the very end as the inhibitors will fall. Feathered airstrike already down. Echo is going to take as much as possible. However, the mid as well as the top side have not collapsed at the same time. R7 is doing a very good job at keeping it alive, having a bit of a pillow fight with Call TZ. Nobody really winning there as the mid lane
Yawi?
now clash, but Yawi, does he find the angle? He finds the kick onto Bin. They're trying to collapse on it. The Bravest Warrior is already in, but Skylar slows them down with the Queen's Call. Heavy spin activated with the Call. Altar the backline being attacked. Albert as well, trying his best. Feathered airstrike comes back off a cooldown, but he gets stunned up. He has to move away. Top side is already destroyed, and a 4v5 has been already down. Falls into the favor of Echo. Benny QT not even participating in this entire sequence of events, and this could be a potential kill if they find the CC. Oh, Carl TZ, you're just teasing Yawi, trying to go for it. Again, gets a kick onto Albert, and now the Blazing Duet activated. He's still alive. Queen's Call trying to clear those waves as soon as possible. Sanford, deal with the Bravest Warrior again. We're seeing 3 ultimates. One Sanji, now in trouble. Has to use the wings by wings to get on out of there. The Bravest Warrior is down. No more Sanford, and the defense complete.
You can't imagine to be Skylar. Surely he died at the end, right? But it's difficult to play this Irithyll. Fed by Yawi, fed by Sanford, fed by Call TZ. Everybody targets Skylar. Eventually, after 3 tries with Sanford's opening, they have found him. And Echo, with all of the resources they have so many ways to engage RRQ Hoshi. It looked really bleak for the Indonesian squad. They had to pull everything just to survive there.
Now, I mean, at that point, it looked grim. They held on, but at what cost? Again, back to the question, is this Irithyll the weak link? And was there a better option here for a gold lane or a marksman pick? Because so far, it really has not been working out for RRQ.
I think regardless, the hardest part about this is that feathered airstrike coming in from Sanji. Like, it deals way too much damage. And unfortunately for Irithyll, yes, you can be fast, go quick, or go home. But in this particular case, walking up is way too dangerous. And Yawi, I mean, what can you say? He just lands the kicks each time. He literally says, just hit it. And he's like, okay, sure.
How did he get his hands on the Cho again, right? I mean, that's another big question because you talked about it. One feathered airstrike takes Skylar to basically half health, if not 1/4 at this point. So we're jumping back into the game here. Massive lead for Echo. Still looking to close this series out here. RRQ trying to hold on to keep this series going to Game 5, but at this point, it's looking bleak. Anything that sticks out here, Wolf, in terms of the items and how they can help here for RRQ.
I think the lack of the blade armor on Karina, they only have it on Vin. I think they need to against the Claw. That's the natural way to kind of counter it. While on the side of Echo, you have 2 blade armors on 2 frontliners, Karchis and Yawi. What this does is to really nullify Skylar even more. He's already scared about like the damage output and the initiations coming out from Echo, but even his unstoppable, uncontrollable damage that you take out from the Earthbound is going to be a threat.
I think the biggest way they stay in this game is have another moment where they somehow get the Lord here.
Benny's there.
With the Truncheon! He's able to survive for a little bit longer, allowing Sanford to actually turn this around onto Vin's head. They find the trade, it's not worth it, but Yaoi still has the way of the dragon. They can do something with this. Call TZ in the middle of the fight. He's absorbing damage and now pinning R7 against the wall. He's trying to get on out of there, and immediately this might have just turned.
They know where Benny is.
Oh, do they know where Benny is? No, he's going to recall out of there. He's going to be fine, but this buys a little bit more time for RRQ and Echo. They see what's going on. Now because of the recalls, they're threatening the Lord. They've checked the brushes. They know nobody is there, and even Clay making sure that there is no angle for Yaoi to get on in.
Look at Benny.
It's going to come down to a 50-50 here. Albert versus Carl Teasy. No, they reset it. Sanford is threatening Clay. Whoa, okay, yo, Clay, you're getting too low. He's about to die, and Sanford flickers forward as the rest of the team looks to push on forward.
Oh, they're going to get pushed out of the base here. You saw Benny Cutie also push in that mid lane. They have to respond, and this could, because of those decisions and Clay being down, Echo now in a position to take the Lord.
Way of the Dragon already onto R7, can split, saving him.
Oh.
No, the feathered airstrike from Sanji, able to take him out. Sanford is on fire. Albert locked against the wall. Occult Altar already popped. They're resetting the Lord just against the middle of this fight. Skylar, he's trying his best to dish out damage, but those blade armors are making a difference. And the Queen's Call isn't enough, and Sanford gets his ult again. Clay has to get on out of there. Ghostbusters ain't enough, and Sanford is going to slowly make his way forward. He takes on one, and now the end is nigh. Albert is still on the run. Can they do anything about this?
Oh no!
With so many minions on their side. Yaoi is already down. Bullion already onto Benny QT, but Benny QT! Benny has done it! Wow. A game to make history. Once again, the Filipino dynasty goes on. The grand finals has been set. Echo loud, Echo proud. GG, well played.
The storm cannot be contained in this series, and a force to be reckoned with here. This Echo squad, definitely Echo loud, Echo proud. And it's a sad day for the fans of RRQ in Indonesia, as unfortunately they won't make it to the grand final here in M4.
Let me teach you a word that doesn't exist once again. Endable. Endable. It's not in the dictionary, but at least in Echo's vocabulary there is. They knew the call. There were so minions out there, ushered by Benny Cutie. And when RRQ looked at that, gonna have to give it to Clay. He defended that one with Ghost Bursters, but in the end, Benny Cutie found the opening. He went out with the BMI, got back in with the help of Carl TZ. And the last HP of the minion allowed them to push that one back, and Echo goes to the finals because of that.
Now, they say their final farewells. That is RRQ, but you have your second grand finalist making their way down the stage. It's Echo from the Philippines.
The kingdom has fallen, Echo securing the last grand final slot. And again, a rematch back from the MPL Philippines Season 10. It's going to be the defending world champions, Blacklist International, versus Echo.
Even when you look at that last match, RRQ didn't have the right to kind of be strong even in the latter portions of the game. We said that they had to end it by 10 minutes. We said that their power spike is going to be just dawning afterwards. But RRQ Hoshi fought valiantly. It's just that in the end, Echo's better draft in the late game and better decisioning just was so good. And Sansan, even when they're like the rookies in here, they're very young. They are performing as if they're veterans here.
it's not like every game that Echo plays, it's not one player that carries that game, right?
I
Yes,
agree.
there might be the MVP for, whoever on that squad. Lastly, it was Sanford, but now you have this game where Sanji popped off and then Sanford picking up again throughout the game. That's the biggest problem. Even for the defending champions, Blacklist International, they know this. They've had a taste of this even yesterday. And you remember how dominating a game that Echo won against them. So now, there's a lot of things here to learn, but that's going to be it for us here on the caster desk. Again, Naisu, Gideon, Wolf. Analysts, take it away.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the analyst stand. With me, Miracle and Leo. Miracle, how you feel right now?
Surprisingly, I mean, the game was amazing, right? So, sure, obviously a bit sad that RRQ lost, but hey, that was insane, and we still get to see the best against the best, and right now, it's the facto. Philippines is still number one.
For a long time, RRQ in that game seemed like that was going to take us to game 5. I mean, break it down for us, Leo. Let's first start with the draft. What happened in the draft there with RRQ and Echo?
It's fair to say that RRQ had a solid plan, right? First, picking that glue made sure that Sanford had a lot to think about. It was clearly going into the hands of R7. But the response of the Farsa X, it doesn't even matter what you put into the other pick, made this Game 4 victory all the more clear because it went into the hands of Sanji. Every single time he went in with a flicker or a combo to get that stun off of her passive, that bought so much time and space for Echo for the rest of them, specifically Benny Curie, to own the lane and then own, a quarter of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Towards the late game, mid to late game, Win was landing every hook, but there just wasn't enough firepower from the entire set of RRQ to finish the job. And because they weren't able to finish off fast enough, the backup came and then the rest is history. So let's take a look at the item here. You can see Skylar with the full build. It seems like he just wasn't able to peel through all the front line from Echo.
The damage just was not enough, right? Usually when you go for a Franco, you want some burst to be behind it so that you can actually take people down. It's not just a random hook out of nowhere. Here, you can really see that RRQ were struggling in the damage department. Clay not dealing enough damage as a Faramis. Again, the glue is more of a distraction, and Skylar needs to get to the late game. We did see him finally deal damage in the later stage of the game, but at that point, it's a bit too late. So many frontliners from Echo, and I need to talk about this matchup, right? Because we were talking about it when it was picked in the draft. Glue versus the Lapu Lapu. Now, maybe, sure, Glue's gonna have a little bit more pressure when it comes to wave control and wave clear. But thing is, they pick up the Farsa, which is much more active on the map early on with the Wings by Wings compared to the Faramis. And it's also an X factor because Echo usually, they play around the gold lane, they play around Benny. This game, they said, no, we're going to the XP lane, we're gonna make R7 a non-factor, and they succeeded.
It's more of a byproduct how Benny Curie was so successful in this game. He's both the rich guy and the forgotten one. And I think you can add to those total assists damage to minions and turrets. The fact that throughout all this time that RRQ was fighting 4 members of Echo, I think it happened in a base push, wherein Benny Curie wasn't even part of the fight. He was in the top lane just shooting up objectives. And that's the story of this game, essentially. I'm partly believing the fact that Sanford and Sanji are worth 3.5 heroes on the map. Just those two.
Man, again, just massive shout out to Sanford and Sanji. So young. So much potential, but look where they are already.
Yep.
They're young, they're 16. I cannot believe they're 16.
Now, I want to talk about the Faramis pick. That Faramis pick seems a little bit out of place, a little bit too early. You talk about how it was countered by the Farsa, by the Claude. And ladies and gentlemen, let's unveil the MVP of the night. It's going to be Kao TZ on the Akai.
Hey, I've seen this before. I think it was M2.
Oh yeah, best in the world! Again, he's grown, all right? From a Lancelot to a Link to a Benedetta to now the Fredrin and the Akai. We talk about how Sanford and Sanji bought so much of the map, how Benny Curie reaped all the benefits. TikTok per minute from Yaoi. Forget about it. It's all about how TZ confirmed all the major objectives, isolated the right targets, and essentially played distraction, much like how R7 wanted to do, all the while carrying the retribution.
Now, I want to say that Kao TZ actually take out Akai twice in tonight's series, right? Every time they took it out, it feels like Echo had a plan, like an onion, right? Step by step. They're more structured when it comes to every objective fight. With Akai pushing everybody away, with Sanford going to the back line, destructing the entire structure of RRQ. And let's take a look at the heat map of the Kao TZ MVP of the night.
Yep, you see how the layers of the execution this time around worked out. They tried to do it in game 2. That's, I think, the game plan. Add layers to your execution so that your opponent gets confused, but now this is how it might look like, right? You see how Carl TZ starts up in that orange buff, goes out to the purple, and then tries a turtle, tries a little bit of a steal, and then bothers Albert. He's doing so much. Again, that's why he's MVP. You could say how well Sanford and Sanji did the roles, or the other members, but Carl TZ was doing more than just what we expected.
Again, it's very similar to the heat map we saw when Albert got the MVP on the Karina. He doesn't really care about ganking. It's more of that the utility that he provides around the neutral objectives, right? That's what the utility junglers are made for. Here, you can see a rare case where he was able to gank in the early few minutes here, and it works. He gets to a point where he's already ahead when he actually can force these crazy engages and pickoffs to enable that kill pressure that's already present within Echo's laning.
And you can see here Sanford was just on the backline relentlessly, right? The whole early game Skylar, it just wasn't able to do too much. And look, how TZ coming in, even with R7 on top of him, he was like, yeah, it's not even heavy enough, you know? I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and take the Lord away.
Which is the story of the whole game, why he's MVP. He's doing so much, peeling, getting objectives, spacing out RRQ, dealing damage, taking damage, and again, the numbers don't tell the whole story.
Man, I don't know what it is with you Filipinos, but you guys practice your minds off.
Nicest Filipino.
Nicest Filipino, that's why he knows when Occupying Thrones back then was practicing their minds off. But here, you can even see, right? Everybody's talking about Indonesia and their mechanics. Echo can level the mechanics. That's what makes them so impressive here. And on top of that, they can add the macro game, which is just so amazing. And here, you get the best of both worlds.
Wow. All I can say is what a series so far. It seems like history is going to repeat itself. It's going to be MPLPH, but for the world on the world stage, right? In the grand finals.
The grand finals, I've seen this
Season
before.
10.5.
Yeah, but that aside, I'd like to say GG well played. Terima kasih to the King of Kings.
Viva RRQ, man, to all of the members in RRQ.
With that being said, I think our host has some interview for us. So without further ado, let's throw it to the host.
They are loud and they are proud. Once again, congratulations, Echo!
Whoa! They really did a great job in this lower bracket final, and they gonna face again the enemy in best of 7 tomorrow.
That's right, you guys did so amazing. You're making Philippines proud because once again, it's Philippines versus Philippines in the grand finals.
Pinas lang malangkas.
Pinas lang malakas, but first, kailangan ko itong tanungin. Siyempre, kailangan ko malaman other than masaya. Ano ang pakiramdam nyo ngayon? What else do you feel? Sanji, rookie year, grand finalist in the world stage. Anong tumatakbo sa isip mo? Anong pakiramdam mo ngayon? What's going through your mind? What are you feeling?
Sobrang excited para bukas. Para gustong-gusto kasi namin bawian yung blacklist.
They're so excited because they really want to make a comeback with Blacklist. I want to know all your thoughts. I want to know all your thoughts, Sanford.
Excited. Bakal ketemu.
Yung unang reaction mo, your first reaction.
Speechless po kasi ngayon ko lang po naramdaman tong gantong feeling kasi first time ko lang din po sa world stage. So parang wala po akong masabi.
He's speechless because this is the only time he got to experience this and feel this. It's his first time in the world stage, so he can't express himself right now.
Yes, but
Carl, once again, grand finals.
Wow. Masaya rin po.
He's also happy. Okay, anong nakasalalay dito para sa'yo? What does this mean for you? Gaano ka-importante to na nasa grand finals ka ulit?
Gusto ko lang po patnayan sa mga nag-doubt sa amin na kaya rin namin sumabay. Kasi since S9, pagkalipat ko ng Echo, lagi kami tinatawag na first round exit. Kaya, saan kayo ngayon?
He also wants to prove himself because ever since season 9, when he went to Echo, they always say first round exit. So now he's able to prove himself and he's going to the grand finals.
And they make really great job with two teams. Indonesia got beaten down by Echo Esports. Now I want to ask, is there a message for an Indonesian team, or you have something to say to Indonesian team?
Yawi.
Hoping po kami na makalaban pa sila ng madaming beses sa future kasi sobrang lakas po nila tsaka ang sarap po nila kalaban.
They're looking forward to facing them more in the future because it's really great to face them and they're really, really strong. So they're such a worthy opponent that they're looking forward for the next time.
Yes, jadi dari tim Iko sendiri ngerasa bahwa tim Indonesia sangat-sangat kuat dan mereka benar-benar kepengen ketemu lagi sama tim Indonesia karena itu benar-benar menyenangkan untuk ketemu tim sekuat tim Indonesia. Be proud of you, Indonesian team.
Regardless what happens, you guys are winners. You guys are waving the Philippine flag. Regardless what happens, you guys are millionaires.
Woohoo!
What are you going to do after this? What are you gonna do?
Help my parents.
You're gonna help your parents. How about for you?
Menolongin keluarga, untuk keluarga.
Ganun din po. Treat ka din po yung mga parents ko. Tsaka yung si Lolo tsaka si Lola.
He's gonna help his parents and his grandparents. Anong gagawin niyo para sa sarili niyo?
Iyan mo namin yung time namin sa mga family namin since before Christmas nandito na kami. So, relax muna kami. And shoutout sa mga pamilya ko dyan, sa asawa ko. I love you.
They're gonna give their time to their family because since Christmas they've been here. So he's giving a shout out to his wife and he loves her. Yawi!
Bibilin po yung mga nagpapasaya sa akin kahit di kailangan.
Wow. He's gonna get things that he wants even if it won't make him happy. He'll just buy it anyway.
Li semuanya katanya.
Now you're gonna face Blacklist International tomorrow, Philippines versus Philippines. What's going to be different this time around, especially to make sure what happened yesterday won't happen again tomorrow? What's going to be different this time around? What have you learned? Of course, not the strategy, but within yourselves.
Ketemu lagi nih Blacklist International dan juga
Benny
Eco
Cuting,
Esports.
di ka pa nagsasalita. Tatago ka. What's going to be different this time around? Anong pagkakaiba bukas sa pagharap nyo towards Blacklist International?
Siguro po, yung mga nangyari nung upper finals, marami na po kaming lesson doon. So, more on mas mag-a-adjust pa kami ngayon dito sa Grand Finals kasi lalo na best of 7.
They've learned a lot in the upper bracket finals and they're going to apply that. They're learning and it's going to be even better, especially for the best of 7. I know you guys are really happy. I know you guys want to celebrate. So we'll take your last bow before tomorrow. Once again, they are loud and they are proud. Echo Philippines! Congratulations!
Echo Philippines, they prove they're really strong in this country. Indonesia, they make a statement that they can win.